I don't have a favorite person, a favorite book, a favorite shoe, a favorite jockstrap, a favorite politician, but I do have a favorite film. And then the reason Tarkovsky's Solaris is my favorite film, I was a big science fiction fan when I was a kid, and Solaris came out the year after Kubrick's 2001, maybe a year or two later, and it was advertised in London as the Soviet 2001. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's nothing like Kubrick's 2001. One thing is that the effects, such as they are completely low tech. There's no real attempt to create the sense of being in outer space and orbiting an alien planet that you'd see in an American film. But see Solaris now, and it's fresh as paint. See Solaris now, and you will suspend disbelief in the idea that you're on a space station orbiting a planet many light years from now. See Solaris and marvel at the length of the shots. Oh, heaven. Shots, continuous shots that last for a minute, often locked off shots from a rostrum camera like this one. Rostrum camera shooting down into a stream bed, just the tendrils of waterweed waving and waving. Anyway, but actually, you know, things have been getting quite bad for a while. I'm sure you're all aware of the fact that the average shot length in movies has been decreasing steadily throughout the 20th century. I think it's now down to around 3 seconds. Somebody may be able to tell me. Also, think of editing techniques in films. Think of montage, think of fades of various sorts. They've mostly gone. Most of the editing techniques used in contemporary Hollywood movies are high-speed cross-cuts of one sort or another. A cross-cut, of course, compels attention to the screen. I'm sure all of you will have had the experience when watching flashy, bangy, whizzy contemporary Hollywood films in particular, of a sense that your eyes are kind of pinioned to the screen in a way that you don't quite like. And if you don't allow them to be pinioned to the screen, there's a point at which you sort of can't even suspend disbelief in the imagery that's on the screen at all. It just becomes a kind of swirl of color and light. You can no longer read the image. This is particularly true of films that are not only edited with these very, very, very short shots and lots of use of cross-cutting, but particularly where you have a lot of CGI as well. I'll talk a little bit about CGI because I think that's part of the problem as well and why I don't watch films anymore. I'm serious about the ubiquity of screens. I'm serious about the way it's fracturing our ability to consider film as an artistic medium anymore. There's something non-productive and passive in a way about our interaction of film. Add in the tyranny, the cross-cutting, the short shot sequences, and you have a very kind of unthinking medium already. And I'd argue the loss of our engagement with cinema as audiences, a sense of being a collective audience. It was important watching that film Solaris back in the very early 70s in a cinema. It was important being there. It was important the ceremonial of it. I think our loss of that aspect of cinema going, and the loss of the unitary quality that was provided to us when screens were far less ubiquitous. You had to go somewhere to watch a film, you had to engage with a film, you couldn't start and stop watching a film. That we've now gone overplus in that respect, okay? You'll all have watched films with absolutely brilliant CGI recently that have been sort of boring. Yeah, it's kind of boring. I'll go and see Doctor Strange. Look at Manhattan folding in on itself like that. Or what was that one a few years ago? What was it? Inception, yeah. That started the kind of cities going like this thing, yeah? I remember thinking, I think I reviewed Inception. I said it's a stupid person's idea of what an intelligent film is like. But I think it was Inception that I finally reached the overplus of CGI. You know, when you can actually reproduce in visual terms, almost anything it's possible for the individual to imagine, you've gone into an overplus in the medium. High-definition televisions are now sold that have higher definition than your eye. How does that work? You know that thing when you're watching high-def TV and the image goes like that, and for a moment it's as if you're seeing the very machine code of reality itself? Yeah? You are. That's what you're seeing. It's pretty disturbing, isn't it? Badiou, the French philosopher, believed that au fond, at the very root of our understanding, are just zeros and ones, rather like the credit sequence of the Matrix. So that problem, we've got a problem now. Our ability to produce suspension of disbelief is in fact greater than our suspension of disbelief. Our capacity to produce images of high fidelity is greater than our capacity to see them.